Hello guys, how you doing? Good. All right. Praise God, the sun's out, huh? Yeah. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming today. My name's Ron. I'm the Executive Director for Laurel Highlands Historical Village. Now, my dear friend Jesse from AccuWeather is a meteorologist. Today we're going to, and there's Jesse over there. Say hi, Jess. All right, now Jesse's going to talk to you a little bit about weather. We're going to talk about photography. We're going to talk about a lot of things, okay? If you have questions at all, stop, put your hand up, we'll ask you a question, okay? All right? You all awake? Yeah. Yeah? All right. Good, Jess.
All right. Well, as Ron said, I work for AccuWeather up at State College, and AccuWeather has their world headquarters there. We have about 400 people working there, and we do the weather for all over the world. We take in observations from airports all across the world, and cloud pictures from NASA's satellites, and Doppler radar images from the National Weather Service. And then the meteorologist's job at AccuWeather is kind of to interpret what he sees on the computer, because a lot of meteorology is on computers these days, obviously. And there's a lot of different computers that can predict the weather called models. But the meteorologist has to decide which one of those is going to be right. And there's about 24 of them, so it's not an easy job. Now, one of the ways that meteorologists observe the weather, put that over there, is with a weather station like this. This is kind of like what they have at the airports, but you can buy one of these for your house as well. Does anybody know what this instrument here might be measuring? Wind speed. Wind speed, that's correct. And how about this one over here?
Wind direction.
Wind direction, that's right. And this little box here in the front is the rain gauge, which is kind of falling apart on me, but basically what's inside there, if you can see, there's a little, looks like a little spoon in there. And when enough rain falls into the spoon, it tips over, and then it records a 100th of an inch of rain. And so as it rains, it just keeps tipping, and that's how it counts the rainfall. And this is a special kind of weather station too, because it has a sensor to tell you how much ultraviolet energy is coming from the sun. Not all weather stations have that. And the other thing it can measure is barometric pressure, like when you hear about high pressures bringing good weather and low pressures bringing bad weather. It can measure the rise and the fall of the barometric pressure as well. Now, one thing I want to talk to today about is tornadoes. We do get tornadoes in Pennsylvania, but not very often. The most likely time of year to have one is in May, so that's coming up next month. But there have been significant tornadoes anywhere between March and September. Most likely time to see a tornado in Pennsylvania is in the late afternoon, around 5 o'clock. And altogether, there's been 670 tornadoes in Pennsylvania since 1950. Most of the tornadoes in Pennsylvania are fairly weak. We don't get the big storms like they do out west. Have any of you guys ever seen a tornado?
Yeah, on TV.
Yeah?
I've been in them.
Where was that?
Florida.
Florida. Yeah, Florida gets a lot of tornadoes, and Florida gets a lot of lightning too. One of the things that Ron and I like to do is take pictures of lightning. It's not easy, but we can tell you a little bit about that. Lightning, of course, is very dangerous. Here in the state of Pennsylvania, there can be lightning around any storm, and as soon as you hear thunder, you should go indoors, because lightning is very dangerous. The only safe place to be during a lightning storm is inside a sturdy building or in a car with the windows rolled up. Has anybody here heard about the Great Johnstown Flood of 1889? That was a long time ago. I doubt there's anybody here that can tell us much about that from being here, but I do have a weather map with me today, which you guys can pick up a copy of, that shows the amount of rainfall that fell in Pennsylvania during that Johnstown flood. And of course, that was one of 3 floods in Johnstown. I also have a weather map from the 1936 flood. the 1936 flood was basically caused by a big low pressure system bringing in a lot of rainfall on top of snowfall. They had a lot of snow that March on the ground, and when that snow melted when it got warm, it combined with the heavy rain to cause another flood in Johnstown. And then of course 1977 was the last big Johnstown flood. And I have actually a satellite picture of the clouds from that flood here.
Hey Jess.
Yeah.
The 36 flood. You can mention we have photographs on AccuWeather showing the snow depth was like 20 some feet deep.
Yeah, on the AccuWeather photo gallery, Ron's uploaded some pictures of the different floods from the flood museums and pictures of the heavy snow the year before the 36 flood.
But if you can remember, guys, could you imagine the snow being 20 feet deep? Could you imagine that?
That would be twice. That would be taller than this building. So.
All right. Could you imagine shoveling all that snow? No. It'd be a lot of work, huh?
He's not gonna imagine playing in it.
Now, okay. How about this question? Okay. Why do we get a lot of snow some years and some years we don't get a lot of snow?
Because the sun's on the Earth's axis.
Okay. Jesse can answer that question for you.
The distance from the sun.
I can I?
I hope so. You went to, see, you gotta remember, you went to college for this stuff, so.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different reasons we can get different snowfalls from year to year. It depends a lot on the patterns in the atmosphere and how they play out over the snow season. Now I'm trying to think, Ron, I posted the other day on the Pennsylvania Storm Chasers group on Facebook that the station at Evansburg had, what, 148 inches of snow total this winter?
Yeah.
And that was a little bit above normal.
Right.
I think at Ron's house, he gets even more than that.
246, yeah. So, now again, yeah, real quick. Another thing, remember, okay, in Johnstown, where you guys live in Johnstown, it could be raining, but up here on the mountain, it'll be snowing, okay? You got to remember that, okay? Elevation, the higher you are, the more likelihood you are to get snow, okay? It's real simple.
Yep, normally in the atmosphere it gets cooler as you go up. So on the tops of mountaintops, like where Ron lives, it snows a lot of the time, even if it's raining in the valleys. Now, has anybody heard of the Great Pennsylvania Tornado of 1985? That was a long time ago, but that was the biggest tornado to ever strike Pennsylvania. Now, a lot of people say that tornadoes don't happen in the mountains, but in 1985, that tornado went up and down the mountains north of State College and knocked over thousands of trees, and it went on the ground for about 60 miles. It was a very strong tornado. A couple years ago, I talked to some Boy Scouts who were in a little building up there when the tornado came through. That was what, Parker Dam? Is that what that was? And they all survived, but they were very lucky. Let's see what else I have here. So, Ron and I take pictures of weather and do what we call storm chasing here in Pennsylvania. Who all's heard of storm chasers?
I'm doing that.
Normally storm chasers are out in the plains of the United States where they get a lot of big tornadoes, but if you live here, you can also do a good amount of storm photography and storm chasing. The problem with Pennsylvania is if you want to see storms, it's hard because there's a lot of trees and a lot of mountains, right? And that's why Ron and I generally go to an overlook or somewhere where you have a nice view of the clouds and the storms as they come in, and that's where we do that lightning photography.
You do it from inside your car with the windows closed, right?
Yep, that's the safe way to do it.
No, you know, he does, I don't.
I can't promise you Ron always does that, but that's the safe way to do it, because then if you're in a car, you are protected from lightning if you're in the car with the windows rolled up and you're not touching anything metal. Does anybody know why a car protects you from lightning?
Because it has rubber.
He said because of the rubber on the tires. That's actually not true. That's what a lot of people think. But if you think about it, the lightning just came down a couple miles from the sky. It's not going to care too much about a little bit of rubber on the tires. What protects you is that the car acts like a bird cage and there's metal around the side. So when if lightning were to hit the top of your car, it spreads out around the outside and goes down into the ground. Because lightning always tries to get to the ground as fast as it can. That's what it tries to do.
How far away can lightning travel, guys? Anybody
Outside
know?
of a storm, that's a good question.
Okay. Lightning has been known to travel 85 to 100 miles away. Okay. It's lightning. It can travel vast amounts of areas. All right. I've already seen lightning on top of the mountain up here. It's out in Pittsburgh, coming in my direction. Okay. That's over 50 miles away. So, if you hear a storm coming, what do?
Get in the car.
Go inside, right? Okay. Where's the worst place to be? What sport? If you're playing a sport, what's the worst sport to be playing if there's lightning? What?
Baseball, softball.
What else? Golf. Golf, right. Okay. A lot of people get killed playing golf, okay?
Because their clubs are metal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much doing anything outside during a lightning storm is a bad idea.
Remember when we went to Queen Mahoney and it started lightning? We all stayed, we had to get out of the water. It's really important that we
And out of the park.
get out of the park. Remember we stayed under here until the bus came back.
That's a good safe place to be.
But it's not out of the woods. That was bad.
It was the safest place we could be at that time. Right?
Underground.
Right, absolutely. If you're in a field or playing golf on a golf course, you don't want to go under an individual tree because lightning is probably going to seek that tree out. And if it strikes a tree and you're anywhere near it, you could be hurt either by the lightning itself or by the tree exploding because trees are full of what? Does anybody know? What's in trees? It's kind of sticky? Sap. And when lightning hits a tree, it causes the sap to rapidly expand and explode. Yeah.
Why doesn't lightning hit a tree?
Well, it's looking for the quickest way to get to the ground, so it's probably going to pick a tree that's high or a tree that has a really good root system. It would prefer metal if it's going to strike like a building or something. Yeah.
Is it true that when lightning strikes a tree that the wood instantly dries out and hardens? Gets harder than regular wood?
Yeah, that's probably true. Like I said, the sap explodes and it sends out shavings from the tree and stuff, and it definitely dries out the tree very suddenly.
If you think about it, lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun, okay? That's hot.
Yeah, I know.
That's real hot, okay?
Yes, question back there?
Is it possible to hear a tree if it gets like if the tree gets struck by lightning? Is it possible that it can?
Is it possible that what?
If the lightning strikes a tree and it falls, is it possible to hear it in a couple of hours?
Well, you definitely hear it if lightning hits a tree because when lightning hits something real close to you, it makes kind of a clapping sound, a really loud snap. And then the thunder is immediate because, as you probably heard, you can tell how far away the lightning is by counting the seconds after the thunder. But when it hits something really close to you, you can't even count because it's so close.
I got a question for you guys, okay? If lightning were to strike right here, what happens? Tell me what would happen.
It would travel through the ground.
What do you hear?
Clap. Clap. Snap. An explosion.
You would go deaf, okay? Jesse and I have been close to lightning, okay? If lightning strikes right on top of you, close to you, the initial lightning coming through the earth, okay, is so loud, it'll blow your eardrums, okay? You go deaf. If you look at lightning, okay, if you look at lightning that close, it'll blind you, okay? It'll absolutely blind you. So, lightning can hurt you in a lot of ways, not just by hitting you, but if it's close to you and you look at the strike, it'll blind you. Yes.
How long can it blind you make you deaf?
What?
How long can it blind you or make you deaf?
That's a good
Based
question.
on the fact that Ron just said what, I think maybe a long time.
I lost my hearing for about an hour one day.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you go to a loud concert. It's that kind of a thing. Your ears will ring for a long time afterwards.
My husband and I do a lot of hiking,
Uh-huh.
and we'll be in a forest, so a lot of trees. What's the likelihood of, storm rolls in and there's lightning, that if you're in a forest with a lot of trees, that you can get struck?
It's pretty unlikely just because of the odds of it hitting a particular tree right around you, but you definitely want to stay away from open spaces, rock outcrops, and that sort of thing during a storm.
Power lines, absolutely.
I tend to start running once it's
Now there's when lightning strikes a beach, at the beach, when it strikes the sand, does anybody know what happens?
It turns to a crystal type thing.
Yeah, it
I know
basically
it's really
turns into
expensive
glass.
to have.
It basically turns into glass because when you melt sand, it becomes glass. So when lightning hits a beach, it branches out underground and creates a glass figurine kind of in the shape of the lightning, which is pretty cool. I found one of those a couple of years ago up by State College and dug it out of the ground. It's pretty neat.
It goes for a lot of money per pound.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
All right, any other questions?